Tashdile, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. Sikyong meets Indian dignitaries on first official tour. Tibetan writer remains in Chinese prison for 2 years without trial. Election Commission appeals elected MPs to take oath of office in abidance to the Charter. China's ambassador to Denmark encounters pro-Tibet protest. Canada with 43 countries raise concerns on Tibet. Bharat Tibet Samanvay Sangh celebrates Tibetan resilience on World Refugee Day. Tibetan community of Newcastle and Australian Tibetan Archery Club celebrate His Holiness's 86th birthday. During his first official 3-day trip to Delhi, Sikyong Pembatsering held a series of talks with eminent Indian dignitaries. Representative Kasur Ngotup Dongchung, Bureau of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, New Delhi, in an interview to Tibettv said, Sikyong's engagements in the Indian capital was very productive. A Tibetan writer, Lobsang Lundup, who was arrested by the Chinese authorities 2 years ago in July 2019, continues to remain in Chinese prison without trial. According to the reports, Lobsang Lundup, a former monk, intellectual and a writer, was taken into custody in June 2019 on the account of using banned teaching materials at the private education center where he was working as a teacher. Lobsang is known to have travelled widely to various places in Tibet to record the observations of fellow Tibetans about the 2008 Pan-Tibet protest against the Chinese government and written and published several books and articles. Addressing the current stalemate in the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in exile, the Election Commissioner Wangdut Tsering Pesur appealed the elected members of the Parliament to take oath of office in abidance to the Charter. In the 5-point clarification issued during a press conference by the Election Commission on Friday last week, the Commission expressed its preparedness to conduct the elections of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker as and when the 22 elected MPs take the oath of office from the interim Speaker as mandated by the Tibetan Charter. China's ambassador to Denmark, Te, encountered protesters outside the meeting venue in central Copenhagen, Denmark, on Friday last week. The Tibet Support Group in Denmark, together with the Danish China Critical Society, organized a surprise demonstration to protest against Chinese repression in Tibet, East Turkestan, Hong Kong, and China.
Free Hong Kong, free Tibet, free China. Mr. Ambassador, why are you defending genocide?
Free Tibet!
Mr. Ambassador, why are you defending genocide?
Why do you put people in concentration camps?
Why do you have people in concentration camps, Mr. Ambassador?
Free Tibet!
Canada delivered a cross-regional joint statement on behalf of 44 countries that expressed grave concerns on the human rights violations in Tibet, East Turkestan and Hong Kong, calling on China to allow UN access to Xinjiang at the ongoing 47th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council.
Credible reports indicate that over 1 million people have been arbitrarily detained in Xinjiang and that there's widespread surveillance disproportionately targeting Uyghurs and members of other minorities. Finally, we continue to be deeply concerned about the deterioration of fundamental freedoms in Hong Kong under the national security law and about the human rights situation in Tibet.
The 44 countries included Australia, Canada, Czech Republic, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK and the US from 4 UN regional groups: Eastern European, Western European, Latin American and Caribbean, and Asia and Pacific groups. Commemorating World Refugee Day, Bharat Tibet Samanvay Sangh held a special online discussion to expound on India's policies on par with UN regulations on refugees. The event saw Indian officials lauding His Holiness the Dalai Lama's far-sighted vision for world peace and happiness. They considered the Tibetan refugee community in India as part of their family and ensured their continued support for the cause of Tibet. They also highlighted the contribution of Tibetan people in enriching the fabric of Indian society, safeguarding its values and wisdom. The Tibetan community in Newcastle in Australia, in association with the Australian Tibetan Archery Talent Club, celebrated His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 86th birthday on Tuesday last week as per the traditional Tibetan lunar calendar. Chief guest Representative Mr. Karma Sangh spoke about the life and still unfolding legacy of His Holiness, including his immense contributions to world peace and religious harmony. The celebration saw traditional Tibetan songs and performances by school children and community members, followed by a traditional archery competition. So much for this week. See you next time and have a good weekend.